Okay, Shalom Aleichem, everybody. Welcome. Thank you again to the Prachkos and the Lipton for putting this together. A beautiful thing to do, coming into Rosh Hashana. So what we're going to be focusing on here, trying to really concentrate it into, pack it into 15, 20 minutes, and hopefully affect our Rosh Hashanah Tefillah this year. I really tried to give a certain framework to the Tefillot on Rosh Hashanah, what it is we're davening for. We spend a lot of time in Shul, you know what I mean? Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, we spend a lot of time in Shul. So what is it all about? So I want to start with somewhat of a contradiction, a certain clash that we find. There's a very, very somewhat famous Zohar that's quoted here. I'm quoting it from a sefer from Rav Tzadok, but it's quoted in many, many Svarim, particularly in Hasidic Svarim. But it's a famous Zohar, but it says like this, that Kulu tzavchin b'tzlusa, that everybody cries out in their davening, kekalvim, like dogs, have, give, have lanu mizone, have lanu chaye, give us food, give us life. So there's this medrash, right? There's this Zohar that seems to reprimand us, to sort of put us down. That here's this very holy day, this very special day of Rosh Hashanah, this very powerful day of holiness. And what are we doing? We're like dogs, begging at our master's doorstep. We're sitting in front of our master, and the only thing we could think of is give us food and give us life. Right, so it makes us feel kind of bad, because I don't know about you, but I tried to get in the whole mindset of realizing that my life and my food and my children and everything, depends on this day. And so much of the Tefillos revolve around that concept, do they not? Right? Avidu Malkeinu, all we're asking for in Avidu Malkeinu is for life and for food. Unesana Tokef, what are we talking about there? We're saying we're being judged today. Who's going to be poor this year? Who's going to be rich this year? What's that talking about? Right? Food. Who's going to live this year? Who's going to die? How is it going to happen? What's that talking about? So there is some element of asking for these things on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, but at the same time, it seems that there's something wrong with it. So we want to try to unravel this a little bit, try to understand what is it that we're davening for. Because I obviously, again, for me, I feel I really want to be able to daven with impunity for these things. I feel it's very, Avinu Malkeinu, the Yom Noraim, is the time I try to focus. The times that the Aron Kodesh is open, we say the Yud Gimel Midos, and these things, I try to take it seriously. And here I feel like, should I be guilty about this? Am I doing something wrong? When the Zohar tells us this. So fortunately, we have an incredible sefer, a tiny little sefer, which you could find probably online. It's called the Sefer Maimer HaChachma LaRosh Hashanah by the Ramchal. Rav Moshe Chaim Lutzato, as many of us know, was a great mystic, a great Kabbalist in the 1600s in Italy, and in a very, very short amount of years, in 39, 40 years of his life, really turned the world of Kabbalah over and gave whole new explanations to worlds of Torah. And what he did is an incredible thing. He has this little booklet that's really not so well known, where he just goes through the Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur Shmona Esrei, actually, and even the words going through it. And he explains to us, what is this day all about? What are our tefillot all about? What are we saying when we say all these things? And we have to realize, how many times we say these lines, Uvechein tein pachtacha, Uvechein tein kavod, Uvechein tzadikim, right? How many times we say this? We say this, Rosh Hashanah, Ma'ariv, Shachris, Mincha, again, Rosh Hashanah, Ma'ariv, Yom Kippur, 5 times a year. We keep on saying the same theme, the same Shmona Esrei, right? The Shmona Esrei doesn't change from Rosh Hashanah night through Aseret Yemei Tshuva, right? We say this Shmona Esrei, 10 times, 11 times, the same text. So the Ramchal gives it an incredible structure, an incredible tzura to understand what are we davening for, and through this understand really what is this day all about? What is Rosh Hashanah all about? So I want to, I'm not going to read through the whole thing, I just want to pick out line by line bits and pieces from this. I'm reading here from the Ma'amar HaChachma, the Rosh Hashanah, and the Tefillas Rosh Hashanah from Rav Moshe Chaim Lutzato, something quite incredible. And he starts with an introduction on a very, very cosmic, grand scale. And he says that in the world, when Hashem created the world, He created 2 opposing forces, the forces of good and the forces of evil, right? The forces of light, the forces of darkness, Vayi Erev, Vayi Boker, right? Light and darkness, all of these things are these 2 forces. And these are represented on every level. They're represented in the spiritual world, they're represented in the angel world, and they're represented in the physical world. Now, how do they manifest themselves over here in the physical world, specifically in mankind? There's a nation called Am Yisrael. There's a chosen nation. There's a people that are chosen. These are Hashem's people. These are the people who are here to represent the good of the world, right? The light of the world. And we're here to be able to affect, right, the darkness, the Ra of the world, which he says is the Umot HaOlam, right? All the other nations of the world. That's what he writes. The role of the Jew is Tikkun HaOlam. right? We know this is like, especially nowadays in liberal, circles and, J Street, these things, right? Tikkun Olam, that's what it's all about, right? What is Tikkun Olam? This is, it's the words of the Ramchal. V'hu she'iyah tov sholet v'hara nichbeh. What's the real tikkun of the world? Is for good to be in its place and for ra to be in its place, for light to be ruling and darkness, right? To the dark side, not for it to be destroyed, right? In Judaism, we don't believe in destroying all of the goyim. That's not our creed. That's like, Islam and these other, Christianity also. We don't believe in that at all. Edom has a place. We don't believe that Edom's going to be cast into a pit of fire and destroyed when Mashiach comes. They're going to be here to serve Klal Yisrael. They're going to be in the structure in the universe where they're supposed to be. V'rav ya'avod tza'ir, right? Like Yitzchak Avinu said, that Esav is going to serve Yaakov, Edom is going to serve Esav, except for Amalek, right? A small part of them has to be destroyed. That's just Amalek. But we don't believe in the obliteration of all the Goyim. We believe in the tikkun of all the Goyim. What is the tikkun of all the Goyim? What's the tikkun olam? For the world to be running properly, for good to prevail and darkness to be subjected, which means for Klal Yisrael to prevail and the nations of the world to recognize that. That's really what we're striving for. And the Ramchal says, what is this? What is this concept? This is the concept of the Malchus of Hashem. This is Malchuso of Hashem. This is the kingdom of Hashem, the kingship of Hashem. What is the kingdom of Hashem? How is that seen in the world? Do we see the kingdom of Hashem in the world today when you have, ISIS or the people that are beating ISIS who are no better than them as far as we're concerned, really, or maybe a little bit better, right? Over there, and you've got what's going on in South America. You've got the whole world is going crazy. We don't see the Malchus of Hashem. How is the Malchus of Hashem going to be shown in the world when the world is running properly, right? When did that happen? Like the times of the Beis HaMikdash, right? When Klal Yisrael was running the show and everybody else was subjugated to us, that's when the world runs properly. But now, when things are all mixed up, right? Now we find ourselves in this situation. That's the galus of Hashem. If the malchus of Hashem was showing, so we would be in control, right? Everybody would recognize Klal Yisrael and recognize Hashem through us. So look what he says here. V'ulam b'yom Rosh Hashana, Adon Baruch Hu omed kaviyachol bebechinas melech al olamo. It's the first day of the year, the day the world was created. Hashem stands today as a king over his world. V'al kain hine hashar ru'uya li'espal lefanav shi'yagala malchusei lagamrei ba'olam. So what's our whole focus of tefillah? Because we're so close. It's the day of Hashem's kingdom, the day that Hashem expresses himself as a king. We're so close to that. We're saying, Hashem, make it happen all the way. Pull it through all the way. Make it be that your malchus is revealed in the world. V'yatukan ha'olam al yedei zeh. We're not davening for our children and our panasa. We're not even davening for our family. We're not even davening for Klal Yisrael. We're davening on Rosh Hashana for the world. V'yatukan ha'olam al yedei zeh. V'al ikr zeh nivne kol nusach hanosaf hazeh. On this concept, the entire nusach, the entire text of the tefillah is built. Yom Rosh Hashanah is the day of the kingdom of Hashem. What's the ultimate expression of that? The world to be fixed, for the world to be working properly. And we're going to see, when that happens, then we get our children and our food and our parnasa as a byproduct of that. I don't want to take any questions because I'm limited on time. Maybe afterwards, if there's time, I'll have time. Okay, so I want to now just open up, if you want to open up the Machzorim, and we could start just with the Ma'ariv Shemona Esrei, because that's the first place. If you're in the art scroll, I'm starting on page 64, the regular Hebrew English art scroll. On page 64, this is, the first time in Ma'ariv Rosh Hashanah night. It's worthwhile to spend a few minutes, just preparing ourselves. Like I said, we've seen the Shemona Esrei so many times. Some years I won't run into Shemona Esrei, and you're looking at it for the first time, you're like, whoa, I haven't seen this since last year. It's good to spend some time before, So what are we saying over here? We say, the regular tefillah of the day, at the kadosh. We add in the lines of the Aseret Simei Tshuva, Zachreinu l'chaim, right? Again, asking for life. Michamocha avarachamim, Zocher Yetzuv l'chaim. Again, asking for life. Remember us for life, right? But then what do we launch into? What's the main body of the tefillos? Uvechein tein pachtacha Hashem Elokeinu al kol ma'asecha Hashem. Place your fear, your dread on all of your creations, and your dread, your awe on all of your creations. So what are we saying here? How does this fit in? So listen to what Ramchal says. From Hashem's revealing himself in the world, right? That's what we're praying for. That's the goal of everything. What we're asking for, Hashem, reveal yourself. What's going to happen from that? Harishon, Shetikanes Yirasa Yisbarach Balev Kol Brov Yishtabdu Lo. Everybody will understand what Hashem is about. Everybody will understand that there's a system over here. It makes sense. Everything, you know what I mean? It all fits. It makes sense why we're supposed to do what we're supposed to do. And again, not just the Jews, everybody, right? Everybody, all the Goyim, all the Jews are going to recognize this truth. I always, think about this, how the news reports are going to be on, CNN and Fox News and all that, trying to spin it their way. When Mashiach comes out, everyone's going to, have their spin, how they were right all along, right? But what are they all going to be talking about? They're all going to be talking about Hashem. They're all going to be talking about how the revelation of Hashem has happened. Yeah, and it's very clear. That's what we're davening. Hashem, let it be that everybody realizes this. Everybody recognizes this. Now, when that happens, what's the second step? What's the natural byproduct? Again, not what we're davening for, not that we're elitist and we're davening Hashem, trample the other nations and raise us up, but we're saying, Hashem, when your Malchus is revealed, Hashem, when the world is working properly, what's going to happen? Memela, what's going to happen is Klal Yisrael is going to be elevated because we are the goodness of the world. And that's the next paragraph. Uvechein tein kavod Hashem la'amecha. Hashem, give kavod, give honor, give us the proper place where we're supposed to be. And that's what he says the next one. V'hinei tzarich sheteda, sha'af al pi Yisrael mitzad atzmam, kvar heim nivcharem umukudashim. We're already the chosen people. We're already sanctified. We're already holy. Umutarim batros of Yisbarach. We're already crowned with Hashem's crown. Hinei ad sha'olam kulo b'chol chalakov eno nitkan b'kol zman. All the while that the world is not fixed, all the while that the world is broken like it is now, Gam Yisrael ena megiyim latachlis ma'lasam. We're not going to reach where we're supposed to be with all of our Nobel Prizes and with all of our control of Hollywood and whatever else and everything else that we excel in, right? We are not sitting on top of the world. We are a downtrodden nation, and the world doesn't know what to do with us. They hate us, but they need us, and this, right? All of these things. That's because it's not working right. But when the world is functioning right, when Hashem's Malchus is revealed properly, then uvechein tein kavod Hashem lamecha. Everybody's going to look up to us. They're going to recognize how wrong they were all of these years. Tehila l'reyacha, tikva tov l'dorashecha. Right? That's what's going to happen all the way. Okay, and then what's going to follow from there? What's going to follow from the process again of the Gilui Malchus happening, of Hashem's revelation happening, and the world being fixed? So the world will be fixed. Everybody will recognize. Klal Yisrael will rise up. That's v'chein tein kavod. And then he says, and even within Klal Yisrael itself, v'ulam madregos ravos yesh b'Yisrael. Everybody in Yisrael also has different level. Kulam tovos. Everybody's good. All right. Kulam v'amech kulam tzadikim. We're all good. Makbilos the haros elyonos. We are all connected to very, very high places. Aval yesh tzadikim, yesh chasidim, yesh yesharim. There's all different levels. And he says that's the fourth thing that we daven for. The third one. Uvechein tzadikim yiru v'ismalchu v'yesharim yalozu v'chasidim birina yagilu. Right? When the tikkun ha'olam takes place, when everything happens the way it's supposed to be, so then even within Klal Yisrael, everybody's going to be happy with their level. Everyone's going to be maximizing their potential. Right? And that's the last thing that we're davening for in this section. Uvechein tzadikim yiru v'ismalchu. Okay? So that's part one. The structure of the tefillah the Ramchal is showing to us is a structure of explaining to us what we are davening for. We are davening for the true tikkun ha'olam. We're looking for the world to be fixed. What's going to happen when the world is fixed? Number one, everybody, including the Gentiles, are going to recognize their place. They're all going to be together recognizing Hashem. Two, Klal Yisrael automatically is going to be elevated, and within Klal Yisrael, everybody is going to be elevated to their appropriate levels of v'chein tzadikim, of v'chein yesharim, and everybody else. Oh, so what's the next paragraph that we have in the davening before we finish up? Right, there's one more paragraph before we say Kadosh Ota and we finish Baruch Hashem Hamelech HaKadosh. We have this paragraph as V'simloch Ata Hashem Levadecha. After all of this, what are we saying? Hashem, rule over the world, declare your kingdom over the world. So how I wanted us to explain the words of the Ramchal are just so beautiful. How he says, because this is where the Mukubalim say it's in this word. And I tried to do this word V'timloch is where you're supposed to have kavanah for your children and your life and your parnasa and everything else. Because what are we really asking for? Right? We're not asking for our parnasa and our this and our that in a selfish, myopic way where I'm looking at me and my needs and who am I and what am I lacking. All of of Rosh Hashanah is supposed to be looking at the world. I'm supposed to be looking at what the world's needs are. And yes, I'm a part of that. And yes, if I'm fulfilled and I have what I need, I'm going to play my role in the world better. Yeah, that's v'timlu chato Hashem levadecha. V'hinei hamatzav hatov she'yishara bo olam hu she'yu abruim b'chol ha'achana ha'mitzareches. If the world is fixed, everybody's going to have everything that they need. U'malchusa yisbarach tiyeh mizgalei saleim tamid. And everybody will recognize Hashem. V'him mekablim mizeh tova achar tova adein tachlis. And we'll just get good after good because this is the way it's supposed to be. Ki hinei hu yisbarach shemo bilti bal tachlis v'tuvo bilti bal tachlis. Right? Hashem is infinite. His good is infinite. And once He's here and connected to us, yim tu mekablim tov bilti tachlis, we'll receive infinite good. V'zehu, that's what the word is. V'simluch. Right, the simul chata Hashem levadecha. That's what we're saying in davening. When we say that word v'simluch, we're saying Hashem, through the proper structure of the universe, through being where everything's supposed to be, let all the good come into the world. Let all the the bani chayim azoni, all the things we're davening for, for our children, for our parnasa, for health and brios and all of these things, right? But we're asking for it in the right context. Right, so that's the way we're understanding this. So once we've davened this Shemona Esrei, and then we finish Abelach Kadosh, and then we go on, and then yes, now when we say Avinu Malkeinu, we're in the right mindset, right? When we're saying Avinu Malkeinu, we're appreciating. No, I'm not just asking for my own selfish, greedy, needs. I'm recognizing after going through this Shemona Esrei properly, I'm recognizing what I'm talking about over here. The world is messed up, right? The world is a really, really dark place right now. There's all sorts of problems going on, not just for me, not just for all of Klal Yisrael. The whole world is mukukal, and the whole day of tefillah is asking Hashem, fix it all up, fix it by revealing yourself, and memela, everything will work. And through that, Hashem, please let it be that I get the needs that I need for this year. I get those things that I need for me to play Hashana hamitzareches, the things that I require in order to play my role this year in the revelation of the Malchus of Hashem. That's the structure of tefillah. B'rez Hashem, that's where we'll find our proper kavanah, where we can ask for the things that we need, while at the same time not overstepping or threatening, the sanctity of the day or the concept of the day, and you see how they work really together. Okay, you wanted to ask something before? You want to?
Saying before how the Shemona Esrei basically is like the same Shemona Esrei like 10, 11 times. Basically, Rosh Hashana and
Yom Kippur.
So it seems like obviously there are parallels between the 2 days, but like we call it Yom Noraim, but there's also many differences between the days.
Okay, very good.
Rosh Hashanah is like more universal. I mean, it seems like still the Shemona Esrei seems strange to say all these ideas seem strange in Yom Kippur.
So it's really I would really say it's interesting. I had this question once, many years ago. I was speaking about this with the Rav Asher Balanson, is the Rav in Telstone still today, and I was speaking about this, and he said to me, no, I'm looking at it wrong. On the contrary, look at the Shemona Esrei. Right? From the Shemona Esrei, you see the character of both days is really the same. The nuance is different. Right? The character of both days is recognizing Hashem as the Melech. On Yom Kippur, the nuance is our personal connection with Him, and that He purifies us, and that He wants us to succeed, etc. That's Yom Kippur. On Rosh Hashanah, it's a more universal nuance, like we're saying now of Tikkun HaOlam. But both days are days of recognition of Hashem as the Melech and the ruler of the world. The whole time period, Hashem is in that role of Melech. Right, and on the contrary, the fact that the Shemona Esrei doesn't budge, only the nuances budge. Right, the additions, all the al-chaitz and the ashamnus, it's after Shemona Esrei. The text of the Shemona Esrei, the Chazal gave us, is only the bracha is different. All the rest of it is exactly the same. V'chein tein pachtacha, v'chein tein kavod, v'chein tzadikim. Because that's this whole time period. This is really what we are focusing on. So I hope this helped. Gives a little structure, a little bit of framework to the tefillos on Rosh Hashanah. B'rez Hashem.
Sort of simple question.
Yeah.
Very, very simple question. Today, I think myself, for sure, can't concentrate a whole Shemona Esrei, especially with the Shemona Esrei. So when I was younger, I had a Rebbe once said to me, each Shemona Esrei, find another point to connect to, at least during that part, and focus on that, because there's no way you can get the whole concentration throughout an hour-long Shemona Esrei.
You're saying Chazar Sashatz or your private Shemona Esrei? Your private Shemona Esrei.
Sashatz is much easier to focus,
Nice.
but the private Shemona Esrei, focus for an hour, half hour even, is very, very difficult. But then I heard another point that focus on the first two brachas, and if you get further than that, then great. If not, focused on the ikr, until you finish with Atar Kodesh.
I don't know. The chinuch I got in these types of questions in general is whatever is going to be best for your tefillah is what you should do. You know what I mean? You have to try your best, you know,
For
Perush
examples,
Amilas,
ideas, you're not going to focus no matter what, so go through davening as fast as you can so you don't lose focus and think of something else and move on.
So if that works for you, so then that's where you should daven. You know
I'm
that.
not
Yeah.
here, but I'm asking
Right.
in general if I know I can get 10 minutes of focus out of myself, where do I focus?
What I would say is where where the most meaningful 10 minutes are going to be for you. In other words, if you're going to tell me that you're going to put all of your focus in one place, but that, you know, because some rabbi said that was where the halacha was, but then you feel like you missed out on your Rosh Hashanah davening, I don't know that you did the right thing. You should try your best to focus everywhere. You know, Rahman Aliba Bai, Hashem knows that we can only do the best that we can do, but you know, the ikr here is just not to be saying the words. The ikr here is to be recognizing this concept of Hashem and the Malchus of Hashem and the... Okay, Hashem, everybody. Good job. Good done.